Hey guys, perfect timing for a Microbots and Magic episode or part, whatever you call it. So yeah, let's get right into it. Now, Model M and Model J met up at some point in the Japanese cluster. Why? It's because Model M just found out that J was basically investigating what went on at the Hiroshima, the transporter bot, if you remember from the previous part. Now, long story short, a group a transportation vehicle came up and a group of other microbots came up. Now the thing is, in the Japanese cluster, in the underbelly of it or the under parts of it, there was actually a gang there, a gang of microbots that were basically led by a leader. The leader's the leader was given a nickname the Baker because they were originally the son of a baker until they started giving out food to those in need. It is built a bond of loyalty and trust, eventually evolving into the gang itself. Now, first, basically, the gang led by the baker proceeded to move over to M and J before pulling out heat shotguns. Now, basically, a short explanation of the heat shotguns or the plasma shotguns was that they were devices that functioned like shotguns. However, they shot water that was heated to the point of being converted into plasma. Yikes. So they told M and J that they were the confirmed targets before forcing them into one of their vehicles. And all the others in the public square could only watch. One of them one of them like tried telling them that kidnapping was illegal, but then their response was a plasma shotgun blast to the face, or what microbot component could be considered the face, or one would associate with the face. After leaving, they were then left down to the underbelly or the under section of the Japanese cluster, if you remember what the Japanese cluster is. Now, thing is, if you remember the short story set in the Microbots and Magic universe, part 2, you would know very well that there was a war ongoing at the around 2020 28, the same time period Microbots and Magic takes place, involving the use of supernatural artifacts and supernatural powers mixed with modern technology. And long story short, Jay's research of supernatural technology ended up being found out by the gang, and they considered it a relation to the happening wars and events that if you remember were from Microbots and Magic short story part 2. So the, you could very clearly make the connections, but for M, however, you see, the Microbots actually enjoy watching from a YouTube channel called Dark Unicorn Studios, and long story short, there have been some rumors going on that Dark Unicorn Studios can actually take inspiration and therefore have his ideas and series influenced by the comments of commenters. And apparently, Model M has been posting as a fan and then giving ideas in the comments of Dark Unicorn Studios videos. This caused the gang to who loved watching Dark Unicorn Studios so much to the point where their activity rate lowers every time he uploads, has been suspected of indirectly influencing them, even being blamed for the delay of the Dog Killer series. This led to them sentencing Jay to a torturing session with plasma torches, while M an execution by a firing line armed with plasma shotguns. So they were moved to their respective chambers. but M managed to get near a guard and proceed to take out their combat blade and stab them with it before taking their plasma shotgun and shooting the lock of their containment cell. They then went on a rampage around the facility, making their way to the containment cell of other prisoners, including Model J. After the intense fight, they went into J's holding cell or containment cell and then had him and the prisoners armed with weapons. Apparently, these other prisoners were also accused of indirectly influencing Dark Unicorn Studios' video ideas. Others were kidnapped from their homes and imprisoned simply for criticizing the Dog Killer series. Some, on the other hand, posed bizarre debates about the overall lore of the Dog Killer series and the Stalker Universe series, and were overall put in kidnapping and containment. They were basically supposed to be punished, tortured, or executed at some point, but yeah. They managed to discover that their cells were actually located somewhere within the underground catacombs that were long abandoned in the Japanese cluster long after it was finished being constructed. After using an old exit, they managed to successfully get through a few roads and eventually to the surface of the Japanese cluster, from which they continued on. After doing some contacting with the local peacekeeping authorities, it was overall just a it was overall just a hectic ride, one could say. However, that did not stop them because eventually, while after I'm leaving the authority station, M and J ended up using a public transportation vehicle. Once again, if you remember, this is like set some 4 years in the future, 2028, and as a result, there were like semi self-driving vehicles there. And if you remember, they're microbots, so they're using other but much larger microbots which they can ride as vehicles. However, three vessels or three larger microbots which were being rode on by the gang who proceeded to tail on the public transportation bot which they were riding on before open firing on them. Now there was another transportation bot that was in their way, so they quickly got onto that and massacred all the guys inside of it before moving on to their transportation vehicle. The, the guys inside quickly took out their electrical pistols and whatever they could use laser cutters, and one of them had an energy rifle, which was basically a rifle shaped device which was capable of shooting out electricity. It was quite simple because if you remember, microbots are quite small. Now, they quickly fought back and fired. Some masses kept getting killed because of the fact that the gang's weapons were shotguns. The emergency transportation bot went down the next stop, but then when peacekeeping authorities arrived to try to stop the gang, they quickly got massacred by their plasma shotguns. One of them was holding a injection device which was basically used for medical purposes, because if you remember, the microbots were originally made for medical purposes, but they're using their injection devices as assault rifles because of how effective they can be as weapons. After that, M and J parted ways, and J proceeded to continue to look for new leads in the overall investigation. Meanwhile, M had his parts fixed and checked. Jay only had his parts fixed and checked after noticing a minor inconvenience with themselves. Alright, that's it for this part